Hey guys, Zen here, and today we're back with Rainbow Six Siege, but recently some just huge and bizarre stories have come up that were undeniably unexpected, and so we're gonna jump in and talk about it. The start of this year in gaming has been kind of all over the place, but hopefully we can make some sense of it here. And yeah, guys, get subscribed to the channel with post notifications, and let's do this. Alright, so to begin, we have to speak about the big news coming out of Xbox and Microsoft and the online service debacle. So unless you've been living under a rock, over this past weekend, Microsoft attempted to raise the price of an Xbox Live Gold subscription, and the whole thing just went completely left, and honestly, for good reason. Xbox was looking to double the price of a gold subscription by making the price for 6 months $60 and of course $120 for the entire year. Now, from the company standpoint, they were attempting to sell the idea that the price of Xbox Live hasn't changed in over a decade and the fact that it's the best place to play online and all that wonderful PR stuff. But honestly, they just completely missed the mark here, and especially in today's landscape. Now, I'll be honest, Xbox Live does have a history of being a great, consistent, and stable platform to host online play, and there was definitely a time where it was the clear breadwinner out of all the services. But now, PlayStation is pretty much on par, or even in some regions better, and there's no real benefit of one over the other. They both have a selection of free games for the subscribers each month, and I think both equally have online gaming figured out better than Nintendo at this point. But between Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, I mean, here in 2021, there's next to no difference. But beyond that, there are a few major issues with this initial decision. For one, they were the only ones doing it. It's not like Sony or Nintendo came out and said they're increasing the price of online play, and it's just the next step for their platforms, and then Microsoft followed it up. They just did this, and being the only ones doing it, it just didn't sit right with anyone. I'm going to pay double over here on this platform when I can get an almost identical experience over on this other platform for literally half of the price. It just doesn't add up. Secondly, let's be totally transparent. Xbox has played third fiddle in the console lineup for a while, basically since the Xbox One release, and look, I absolutely love Xbox and I've owned every single one of their systems, but doubling up here just isn't a competitive move, and I feel like it just handed Sony even more positive mindshare, even though Microsoft has been doing an amazing job with winning back the hearts of gamers. And then lastly, there isn't a single soul who likes the paywall to play online on the console platforms. Like, one of the first things you'll hear from someone who mains PC is the fact that they don't have to pay to play online. Doubling down on that paywall just looks bad, and yeah, on top of the fact that there weren't any new features to bring to the table or anything, it was just a price hike and people just weren't happy with it. And so Microsoft took the feedback and they honestly handled it perfectly, almost a little too perfectly. And not only did they completely reverse the decision, your gold subscription is still currently $59.99, but they're also making free-to-play games 100% free-to-play on Xbox. This means that games like Fortnite, Destiny 2, and Apex Legends are free-to-play with friends and matchmaking and without the need of an Xbox Live Gold subscription, which is pretty much the best outcome. They say, "We messed up today, and you were right to let us know. Connecting and playing with friends is a vital part of gaming, and we failed to meet the expectations of players who count on it every day. As a result, we've decided not to change Xbox Live Gold pricing. We're turning this moment into an opportunity to bring Xbox Live more in line with how we see the player at the center of their experience. For free-to-play games, you will no longer need an Xbox Live Gold subscription to play these games on Xbox." Now, with this announcement, there's been a crowd saying that this was all a publicity stunt. Microsoft never intended on raising the price of Xbox Live Gold, but wanted to make a lot of noise announcing that free-to-play games wouldn't require gold any longer, and so they added this, but with a bit of drama to stir the pot. And well, it worked. Now, for me, I'm almost inclined to believe this, because Microsoft has always been slow to the draw on price, just to wait and see what the competition does. If there's one thing to be honest about with Xbox, it's that they learned from the Xbox One launch, and I don't think they would make such a drastic change of price on their online subscription unless there were serious rumors or announcements that the other platforms were doing it as well. They currently have the lowest priced next generation console on the market with Series S, and they made sure to announce it last after all the dust was settled so they could be the cheapest out the door. And so this was a huge story, but one that I think ended up being another massive win for the gamer. To my knowledge, free-to-play games are still paywalled behind Sony's machines, and because of all this, Microsoft gets that lion's share of not only the cheapest console on the market, but also the one where you can play some of the most popular shooters and free-to-play games in the world for free. The news got so big that now pretty much everyone is aware of it, and they may take a little heat for the initial post, but bigger picture, it's checkmate. So yeah, if this was all just some publicity stunt, then even a company as big and powerful as Microsoft isn't exempt from the golden rule of all press is good press, and they used that, and to that, I've got to tip my hat. Next up is our first real introduction to the narrative of Rainbow Six Siege in year 6, and it's going to be big, but it's also going to be quite different. IGN sat down with Ubisoft and got a little insight to what's going on, and they reveal that this year is going to be somewhat about tightening up loose ends. So if you're a veteran of Rainbow Six Siege, maybe you're a beta player or a year 1 gunner, but if you have been here for that long, then you should be aware of the White Mask Clan. For everyone who doesn't know the official name of them, probably because you never hear it, but the terrorists from Training Grounds, they're called the White Mask Clan, and they're supposedly the whole reason we're doing any of this in Rainbow Six Siege, and what are considered the ultimate threat. Now, in recent years, Siege has been transitioning into an almost Olympic sport as far as lore. I mean, just look at the Road to SI events and all the CGI stuff that comes along with it. The operators are now a part of this show, and it's hosted and broadcasted in front of everyone with a cheering audience and even team captains. So where is that bridge? What connects the actual tactical reason behind being an operator and adding a specialty to the team and being another player in the games? That hasn't been made super clear, and in the interview, the devs mentioned that this will be the focus of year 6. Another big point of interest is Harry. These games have a lot to do with him, and apparently Zero is also here to help whip the rest of the operators into shape, and so the only logical reasoning I can come up with is that these games are where the operators are tested and put under pressure by an audience, and only the winners, or the best of the best, will face up against the ultimate threat. It may be a bit far-fetched, but I absolutely cannot wait to see exactly how they tie it all together and what unanswered questions will get some closure. For me, I want to know more about Harry. He replaced the old Team 6 commander and essentially started these games, and his purpose in all this is essential, I think, and so getting more in depth on his story hopefully reveals more about the whole thing. Again, year 6 is going to be filled with lore, and they even mentioned that some of the most unique new operators are coming over the year, and so there is a lot to be looking forward to if you haven't been fully invested. So speaking of the Road to SI event, it's underway and we only get it once a year, and so let's talk about it. So the big focus this year are the team captains. There's Mira, Vigil, Ash, and Capital, and they each choose 9 other operators to make up a full team of 10. The devs say that the reasoning for team captains and specifically how the teams are decided will be revealed, and so it's possible we find out what operators have interest in other ones. As for the event itself, it's always one of the best parts of the year. It's straight up Siege on a blended map, this time border and coastline, with the ranked playlist rules. It's sweaty, there's a new map, and if you didn't know, they managed to sculpt an entire Roman-like statue of Tachanka in an underground secret room, which is just insane, and they always find a way to meme it out for him. I will say, personally, that I was a bigger fan of last year's map. It was a blend of Hereford and Oregon, and I just felt it had a better flow, but this new one is interesting. I suppose you've really just gotta like border and coastline, and you'll feel just home here. Now, there are some goodies you can get as a part of this event just by getting drops on Twitch. If you tune into a streamer's broadcast who has drops enabled, you'll be awarded in-game charms for watching. Now, there are a ton of charms to get through the 6th Invitational, and yes, it will require some extended hours to get all of them, but in the second week of February, they're actually giving out an esports alpha pack for every 2.5 hours watched on an R6 stream. Then, finally, on the day the hammer gets raised, you'll be able to get your hands on a brand new Tachanka bundle that's themed for the Invitational, as well as a VIP charm for your weapons by watching the stream. So there are a lot of items being given out over this entire event, so get locked in and enjoy some of the best times to be involved in Rainbow Six Siege. So yeah, that's everything for the video today, guys. If you did enjoy it, leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'm out.